Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today I've got another round of long-term reviews for you guys. This is going to be the first of 3 installments this week on long-term reviews of knives that I've had, and one object that is not a knife. What I'm going to do, I think I'm going to change the way I go about these long-term reviews a little. I'm going to bring up each piece, briefly talk about it, list its price, and then at the end of each piece, just let you guys know if I think it's worth the price, if I would buy it again. And you guys can kind of go from there with it. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section, and I will get back to them. And if you like what you guys are seeing, do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button. It's a huge support to the channel. Any likes, subscribes, comments, they all help me factor into the algorithm of YouTube, but ultimately it is the number of subscribers I have. So I would greatly appreciate a subscription from you if you are watching this. And now let's get on with it. Before we get into the knives, the first piece I'm going to review, you hear the dingling, is the Civivi Click. The carabiner I got a while back, and I have my ungodly, ugly set of keys and another little Kershaw Cinder here that, you know what, we're going to do a quick little review of that when I'm done with this, because this thing is freaking amazing. But like I said, you got the key fob to my POS Nissan, key fob to the gym I go to, and then other stuff for houses and whatnot. So what I really like about this Click, more than anything, is right here. You can get everything out through this little secondary compartment here. And just like that, you have them separated. So I'm going to set this stuff aside real quick and just talk about this guy here, because this has been in my pocket, obviously, more than any knife I own, because I carry it every day. And one of the things that really stuck out to me was the lack of scratches on it. The finish on this is really good. There's one little nick right there. Maybe a few. If you look really hard and close, you'll probably see a little more. But this is held up very well. Very well. The tension on the clip has not changed at all. Just as strong as the first day. The bottle opener does indeed work very well. And it also, if you don't have your keys on it, it really makes it pretty easy to use, because you can get a good grip, or, I guess you could call it a purchase, kind of a weird purchase, but you just get up, pop it off. It works very well. The flathead screwdriver here is also nice. I kind of wish it was a little thinner, just a hair thinner. It would make it a little more useful in more types of screw heads, because there was one time I tried using this and it was a little too thick for the slot I was going to use it on, and it would have been very handy if that had worked. So that'd be maybe one little thing I wish was different. But other than that, I don't really have a lot of bad things to say about it. My biggest thing at the point of when I was reviewing this originally was it worth the price tag of $23.85? I'm gonna say yes. Barely. It's still a lot for just a titanium little carabiner, but I use it. I carry it every day. It holds up, so I can't knock it. If it would have broke or looking like it just went through a war zone, I would say, yeah, you could put a better finish or something on it, but it still looks darn near new. That scratch right there is really the only really identifiable marking on it. I mean, maybe that little thing right there, but it held up really well. It served its purpose. So for $23.85, I'm going to say yes. If you like this, I would recommend picking it up. It's a very nice small shape, and it fits nice and easy in the pocket if you have to put it in your pockets, but it also clips well, which is what I usually do. Stick it on my belt loop. So there's the Civivi Click at $23.85. Next up, we have the QSP Leopard. And now this one I wasn't too hot on when I did the initial review. There was, like you see here, some scratches on the carbon fiber. I didn't really like this texturing or stippling, whatever they did to the sides of it there. And more scratches on the back. It just wasn't very appealing to me. The overall design I thought was okay. I didn't necessarily love, but it had 14C28N steel, which I did love. So I thought, I'll give it a shot. And I've only carried this guy a couple times since my review of this, and I can't say I like it any more than I did originally. Just kind of a forgettable piece for me. Not a bad piece. I don't know. I was really upset that when I bought this, I didn't know there was a green micarta version. I bought this off a retailer's website, and then 1 or 2 days later, there was a green micarta version available. That kind of pissed me off because I would have definitely liked the green micarta version better. I think the quality of this carbon fiber I think it's a laminate. It's not a carbon fiber. But the scratches and stuff, I'd rather it would have just been G10 if this front was going to be all scratched up and crappy. So, not a big fan of that. Definitely would have liked the micarta better. My opinion may be a little different had I had the micarta, but regardless, I don't, and this is what I'm stuck with. So, all in all, just kind of okay, but for a price tag of $48.99, I would not be buying this again. Not at all. Not for a second. Action's decent on it. There's really nothing that's really bad on it. It's just it just doesn't speak to me. Doesn't stick out to me. I'm not a huge fan. I would be passing on this if I was thinking about buying it again. So there's that. That's the QSP Leopard at $48.99. Next up, we have the Ruike P865-B. Now, this was another pretty intriguing one to me, that it had some drawbacks on it. Like the blade steel, of course, liked the overall lines and aesthetics of the knife. The action's fantastic. This thumb stud really is not comfortable at all. That was really the biggest drawback of this knife to me. And just flipping it out right now, as far as the thumb stud, that thumb stud has not gotten any more friendly on the thumb. And it's a huge bummer, because if this knife would just have a different thumb stud, I would absolutely buy this knife again all day, every day, especially for a price tag of $34.95. Yeah, I mean, fantastic price, fantastic action, but that thumb stud, it's just not worth it to me. It's just not worth it for it to feel that unpleasant tearing into my thumb every time I flip this blade out. So, on that note, for this knife, I'm going to have to say I would pass if I was going to buy this knife again. And this one is really disappointing to me, because I just really like a lot of things about this knife, especially the appearance. I like a lot of things about it, but that thumb stud's just it's really that uncomfortable. I think the first knife I've ever had that I liked so much, but the thumb stud was that bad to where I just said, and it's placed in the right spot too. Like I said, the action's really good, flies right out, but man, that thumb stud is just not comfortable. Just not comfortable. And even if you sanded it down, it'd still be so small to where it really digs in the tip of your thumb. So just a really big fail with that thumb stud there for Ruike. So again, that's how I feel on this one. I really want to say I would buy this one again, but with that thumb stud, I would not. If it doesn't bother you, go for it, because it's a great knife outside of the thumb stud. But the thumb stud is just the pass for me, and that's the Ruike P865-B. Next up, let's talk about a good one. Here we have the CJRB Crag. Now, what is not good about this? Really just the size and weight, I would say. I would have to say just the size and weight. And not even so much the size, really more so just the weight and, I guess, bulkiness in the pocket. What is that there? Huh. Is that rust? Maybe. Hold on. Now you gotta know. Okay, no, I think it's coming off. Yeah, I don't think that's rust. Just a splattering of something there. So I think we're good. I don't know. I have to take a close look at that. But overall, this knife, the ergos are great. Love how you can choke up. Love the burlap micarta. This is a Knife Center exclusive, so this is the only place you can get that at, is Knife Center. The price on this guy is $39.95, but now that is not, I take that back, that is not for this model. And I don't have that price on me. I want to say it was like $44.95 or $49.95, something like that, but it's a Knife Center exclusive, so you'll have to hop on knifecenter.com, look up CJRB Crag, and you will find this if you do like the appearance of it. And I really do like this burlap micarta. I like the red. I wasn't sure about it when I got it, but I do kind of like the red collar there. I think it goes well enough with the overall piece, and gives it a nice little pop in the center of that micarta. And the blade overall is a very nice blade. It's a very durable blade, D2 steel with a nice deep carry pocket clip with a recessed pocket clip. They did all the right things on this pocket clip, other than make it stonewashed along with the blade, which would have been perfect, but they made it very shiny. So not a huge fan of that, but that's picking it apart pretty hard when you're talking about the price and materials offered. I think overall this is a pretty solid offering. The action's fantastic. Very good usable, hard use blade that falls shut pretty easy and flies out really well. So I got mostly positive things to say about this guy. If I was thinking about buying it again, I would definitely pull the trigger. I would specifically get this version from Knife Center, though, because the other G10 models, I'm just, you see them. It's kind of like the same cookie cutter colors that CJRB offers with their G10 line. So it's nice to see a big change up with the burlap micarta. It gives this knife, especially this knife with its blade shape, I think it was meant to have burlap micarta scales. I mean, I might be wrong, but I don't think I am. I think this is just a great little package put together by Knife Center and CJRB, and I'm really glad they did. That's a CJRB Crag Knife Center exclusive. And next up, we have another rake. This is the Ruike P671-CB, and this is coming in at $39.95. And this is another one I'm really torn about. I've carried this one a lot. I've carried this one more than most of the knives you're going to see on this episode, and I don't know why, because it is ugly. It is so ugly, and it's so thick, but it has a nice blade, a 14C 28N. It has a deep carry clip that, with those screws, it can get caught up on the hem pocket a little, but it will still go in, especially if you have thinner hems. It's not too bad, but not exactly perfect there. But it's just thick, man. It's so thick, but it feels good in hand. It really does. Just like this, you can't really choke up, but it feels pretty good like this. It's a 3 1/4 finger grip, and it is a very nice usable blade that I think, looking at it, you may think it's ugly, but I think the more you used it, the more you would kind of come to grips that I really do like the blade. And it front flips. Not the smoothest front flipper in the world, but it does front flip very easily. It is made to be a front flipper and thumb stud deployment. The thumb stud works very well, and so does the front flipping, except now I've botched 2 out of 3, so maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. There we go. We're at 500. We're going to just stop right there. But overall, I honestly do like it, but I don't think I'd buy it again. I just don't think it's, I don't know, it's just not quite the complete enough package for me. But it's unique, it's fidgety, it really needs a redesign. Really does need a redesign. It needs to be slimmed down, needs smaller thumb studs, but overall, the overall size of it is very nice. It's just, boy, it is ugly. There's really just nothing else to say about it other than it's ugly. But at $39.95, it's not the worst price in the world. But again, like I said, I would pass on this buying it a second time. That is the Ruike P671-CB. Next up, we have a knife that I was scrutinizing from the get-go. That is the Boker Kansai LRF. And the price on this thing's all over the board. When I got it, it was $79.95, I think, or I might have got it on a special. I don't remember. When I looked it up just a couple days ago, it was $79.95, and that was on Blade HQ. So kind of just going back over this knife, there really are some things. You guys probably know this, but I'm not a big Boker fan. This knife, it was better than most Bokers I've ever had, that's for sure. It was definitely, I feel like, a step in the right direction for Boker. Blade centering is pretty well, maybe just a hair to the show side, but no real problem there for me. You can front flip this, which is pretty fun. You just have to be careful when you're front flipping it at this back. The actual flipper tab, it's made to be specifically a flipper with this, and that works very, very well. Very well indeed. And you can, once you're aware of the back reach of this flipper tab, you can front flip it very well too. So I do like the fidgetability with it. I like the blade. It's got a nice blade, VG10, ground pretty thin, relatively slicey. They didn't finish the grind up here at the top, as you can see, which is really annoying to me, which one of the things that just turns me off to Boker. They got one side nailed, and then the other side they just failed pretty bad. Other than that, it's a pretty heavy knife with the brass scales. That I'm not going to take anything away from that, because you should know when you buy brass or copper from the get-go, the knife isn't going to be light, period. It's going to be a heavier knife. So no real issue there. I do like the brass. I think it goes very well. I took off the hideous lanyard they had on there, the little rat tail. So I took that off, and I like it even more. Well, I like it better without that. I shouldn't say I like it even more, but I like it better without the lanyard on it. Very easy to close the blade, drops right shut, and I did notice something else that isn't going to be nice for you guys to hear probably, especially if you were liking this knife, but the big problem was right here. As you look at how close that blade is to the top. You can easily touch it very well. So if you're really reaching into your pocket, if you have a lot of other stuff in your pockets and you're reaching in there a lot, you could cut your finger on this blade. I'm not going to purposely cut myself, but as you can see there, I can pretty easily touch the tip of the blade on the other side of this knife. So when you have it in your pocket and you're reaching in your pants, if you're really digging in there, you could probably cut yourself or cut your finger by pressing on it. So for that reason, again, it's just more lack of attention to detail on Boker's behalf. I would not be buying this knife again, especially for, what was it, $79.95? No way. No way in hell, because CJRB and Civivi are around, and that's the only other reason I need not to buy this knife. So that's that. Yeah. Just kind of whatever. That's the Boker Kansai LRF coming in at $79.95, and it's going to be a pass for me next time buy, even though the action is pretty decent on it. Down to our last three here. We have a Civivi, a CJRB, and a Ferrum Forge. Let's go with the CJRB. This is the CJRB Agave, and I like this knife. I just like this knife. It's a very different, unique design. It does kind of remind me of Elijah Isham. CJRB did reach out to me and say, hey, that's not an Elijah Isham design. It's an in-house design, so that's fine. That's actually a pretty cool in-house design. Not something you see a lot. I like the name, too, Agave. It's just, obviously reminds me of, I think of tequila when I hear agave, but no, it looks like an agave. I don't know how else to say it. That probably doesn't make any sense, but it just does to me. And this is coming in at $37.22. This has the natural or the ghost G10, whatever you guys want to call it. Makes it really nice and easy to dye if you wanted another color. I like the little brass collar there around the pivot screw, and just a very nice versatile blade. Got a nice decent tip up there that is going to hold up pretty darn well. And being D2, it's even stronger, and it just feels really good in hand too. You can choke up really well, don't have to worry about the edge of that blade getting your finger because you're sitting in there very well, and no real risk of cutting your finger there. And it just feels good. It just feels good. You have a lot of tip coming down at the bottom of the handle, which is still okay with me. Doesn't really make or break it. It is a rather long handle knife and a shorter blade. The blade to handle ratio isn't the best for my specific liking, but again, I'm not going to let that really take away from my overall thoughts of the knife, which is good. I wish there was a little jimping there, but it feels good in hand. Held up pretty well. Carries pretty nice in the pocket too. The action's good. This will be somewhat of a pocket pecker if you are carrying a bunch of other stuff in your pocket, because it does stick out there quite a lot, and you will definitely feel it. But there's also no jimping, which is kind of a good thing and a bad thing. The good part being it's not going to scratch your finger at all. Nice and smooth, and it still works pretty well. The action is pretty well. The action's actually very good. I'm just always a little particular to where I like jimping on my flipper tabs. If they're going to be pocket peckers, I don't really care, but I just wish they had jimping on all the flipper tabs. This one doesn't, but again, doesn't really hold back the action. The action's still very, very good. And that's all I got to say about this one. Good knife. I would buy it again at $37.22. I think it's a very reasonable offer and a very reasonable price and a very good offering from CJRB. That is the CJRB Agave. Down to our last two. Let's go with the Civivi Odium. Now, this is not available in this setup. I actually bought two, put this together, and sold the other one. So this is a little unique, but there's still really nothing changing the action or performance of this knife. This comes in at $52.70 in a whole different kinds of flavors from Civivi. You guys know it. Look them up on, Blade HQ, Knife Center, whatever site you guys prefer buying from. And nothing bad to say about this. It is a small knife. It's definitely a small knife. No way around it. But it has those Ferrum forged ergos that give you a good amount of blade and fantastic feel in hand. And it just looks like a very nice package. And like I said before in my original review, this is a very easy knife to conceal. You hold this in your hand and it kind of disappears. And especially if you have the black blade, it hides a little more. And it's very easy to use, very discreet, and just a really nice little piece. I'm really surprised Civivi didn't make this an offering with the black blade and the natural G10, because I really do like this. I kind of wanted to dye the scale something, but I don't know what color. So I'm just kind of leaving it as is right now. It may go red or green. I'm not sure. But right now I kind of just like it the way it is. This is another one. It's not really a fifth pocket knife unless you have a really big fifth pocket. But it's still just a nice little carry. Really like those recessed screws. Fits very well in the hem, or goes over your hem very well and sits very well in the pocket. And yeah, just a very nice little knife. Action is very fun. Flies right out. If you have, I can't really, yeah, I can. Darn it, never mind. My spidey flicking abilities with smaller knives has definitely gotten better over time, because I used to not be able to do that. So all in all, yeah, just a nice, fun little fidgety knife. Like the action, it's Civivi, so I mean, you know it's going to be on point. The blade centering on this is right on point. And it's a Civivi, so I mean, what else would you expect? For $52.70, I would absolutely buy this knife again, and I would recommend it to anyone who likes smaller knives. I think you would definitely be a fan of this guy right here. That is the Civivi Odium. And last, but absolutely not least, as a matter of fact, this guy, the Ferrum Forged Stinger, actually made the #1 knife on my list of my all-time best knives under $100. And I still stand by that very wholeheartedly. It has a very nice steel of Nitro V. It has the excellent Ferrum Forged ergos in a little slightly bigger package than the Odium. Let me bring the Odium back out real quick, and we'll just do a quick size comparison, because it is a very, very medium-sized knife. Not small. The Odium is small. The Ferrum Forged Stinger is right there in that medium size, right about the same size as the Bug Out. And just a very nice, I've been calling it the tactical gentleman's carry, because it's not, I don't think it's too aggressive, but it's also very clean. Has a perfect pocket clip, very small, minimal, holds it right in place, goes over the pocket just fine. Very good job done there. I'm recording this a little early in the morning, and I guess I'm still learning how to talk today. But no, overall, it's just fantastic. It's not too flashy. It's not too anything. It just works. It has just enough flipper tab with nice jimping there that really grabs your finger and flips the blade out. I don't have really any complaints with this. At $90, I would absolutely buy it again. I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan of Ferrum Forge. I haven't had a lot of their knives, but the few that I've had, I've really enjoyed. And this one isn't going anywhere in the collection. This is definitely going to stick around. It's just a great little EDC knife, and I think anyone who bought this knife would be very, very pleased with it indeed. That is the Ferrum Forge Stinger at $90. And I just remembered, let's circle back to my keys here, and let's just talk about the Kershaw Cinder real quick. Because this is a very nice little knife. In all honesty, it's a cheap steel. Look at this thing. I need to sharpen it. I've beaten the hell out of it, but it just keeps working. And it's my flight knife. It's the only knife I can actually carry with me on flights because it never gets tagged or flagged or anything. And if I ever did get caught with it and for some reason they made me throw it away, I paid actually I got this for free. I got this for free on a special from Blade HQ a long time ago, but I think even brand new it's like $8.99. So it really is a nice little blade. Super, super handy and useful. It is a Ken Onion design, and it has a very nice little bottle opener there that I've used a lot. Just a nice little piece. It was worth throwing in there. I would absolutely buy this again. I mean, I got it for free, but I'd pay $10 for this knife. This is a very nice little piece, and it holds up very well. So, one of my most carried knives of all time, the cheap little free Kershaw Cinder. So there's that. That's that, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. I've got 2 more of these coming that you're going to see throughout the week. Next up, we're going to have the long-term reviews of $100 and over, and then I got 1 more for you of knives under $100. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and until the next one, I'm out.